The headline flashed across every financial news channel before noon. One of the country's most successful female CEOs had just lost nearly everything after risking her fortune to save thousands of employees from bankruptcy. As reporters chased interviews and investors criticized her decisions, she quietly sat alone on a park bench holding the only meal she could afford that afternoon. When she noticed an elderly stranger staring hungrily at the sandwich in her hands, she broke it in half without hesitation and offered him the larger piece. After thanking her, the man leaned closer and softly told her that people who choose kindness after losing everything are the rarest people in the world. Those simple words began a chain of events that transformed both of their lives forever. If you believe in kindness, forgiveness, hope, and second chances, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs encouragement today, and subscribe to our channel so our community can continue sharing emotional stories that remind us compassion is strongest when life is hardest. Her name was Adrienne Holloway, founder of a renewable energy company she had built from a rented garage into one of the nation's fastest-growing businesses. While magazines celebrated her success, almost nobody knew how much she sacrificed to protect the people who depended on her company. When an economic crisis threatened to destroy everything, Adrienne refused to abandon her employees. She sold nearly every personal investment she owned to keep salaries paid and health insurance active. The decision saved hundreds of families but left her own financial future uncertain. That afternoon she walked through the city without security, expensive cars, or assistance. She simply wanted a quiet place to think. Sitting beneath bright spring sunshine, she unwrapped a simple sandwich, knowing it would likely be her only meal until evening. Across the park sat an elderly gentleman whose clothes were neat but worn with age. He looked tired rather than homeless, proud rather than desperate. His eyes briefly settled on the sandwich before turning away with quiet dignity. Adrienne remembered the difficult years before success, when strangers had shown unexpected kindness to her struggling family. Without hesitation she walked over, smiled warmly, and offered him half of her lunch. The man accepted with sincere gratitude. After several peaceful moments he quietly thanked her again before telling her something she would never forget. He explained that generous people are easy to find when life is comfortable. Truly extraordinary people remain generous after losing almost everything. Those words struck Adrienne more deeply than any business award ever had. The gentleman introduced himself as Alastair Rowan, a retired school principal who spent his afternoons volunteering at community literacy centers after losing his wife several years earlier. He had watched thousands of children grow into successful adults and believed character mattered far more than talent. They spent the afternoon talking about leadership, family, courage, and failure. Before leaving, Alastair encouraged Adrienne not to measure her worth by the size of her company but by the number of lives she had protected. His words gave her the strength to keep moving forward. Weeks later, news spread that several former employees had started small businesses inspired by Adrienne's example. Instead of seeking higher salaries elsewhere, many volunteered to help rebuild the company she had sacrificed so much to save. Investors who had once criticized her decisions began noticing something unusual. Employee loyalty remained stronger than ever. Customers actively supported a company whose leader had chosen people over profit. Slowly, the business recovered. One sunny afternoon nearly a year later, Adrienne visited the same park carrying 2 lunches instead of 1. She searched for Alastair but learned from volunteers that his health had declined. Before retiring completely from public service, he had left behind dozens of handwritten letters encouraging young teachers, struggling parents, and former students never to underestimate small acts of kindness. Inspired by his legacy, Adrienne created the Rowan Fellowship, funding literacy programs, scholarships, and leadership training for educators across the country. Thousands of children benefited. Hundreds of teachers received support. One shared meal continued changing lives long after that afternoon ended. Before we finish this story, we'd love to hear from you. Has a stranger ever said something that changed the direction of your life? Leave a meaningful comment below because your experience may become the encouragement someone else needs today. As warm afternoon sunlight filled the same quiet park where two strangers once shared a simple meal, Adrian watched children reading books donated through the fellowship inspired by Alastair's wisdom. She realized true wealth had never been measured by the balance in a bank account. It had always been measured by the kindness that remained when everything else seemed uncertain. Sometimes the smallest meal becomes the beginning of the greatest legacy because compassion has a remarkable way of multiplying far beyond the moment in which it is given. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey. May we all remember that the greatest investments are not made in markets, but in people.